Cristiano Ronaldo, Carlos Alcaraz, Max Verstappen, and LeBron James. These are all athletes that are considered elite. And they have one singular skill that you do not. And that is the reason why they are classed as elite and you are not. Not yet. Anyway, today I'm going to explain this skill to you in as simple terms as possible and tell you exactly what it is, how these athletes develop the skills, the reasons why you maybe don't have it yet, and the step-by-step on how you can develop it too. And looking for you, this skill is something that you can train and something that you can improve. So it's likely that you're here. You sit inside and you watch these athletes on a weekly basis. It can be the Premier League, it can be F1, tennis, basketball. It doesn't really matter what it is. The athletes that you are watching on TV, they are elites. But I always wondered, what separated these athletes from myself. And as I grew up, I had the dream of also becoming a professional athlete, an elite level athlete, and specifically in football or soccer. And while I had this talent, while I had that hardworking personality, I had the dream, I'd done the extras, I'd done everything that was supposedly needed for me to actually achieve my goal of becoming a professional. But there was something that actually held me back. After working with professional athletes over the past couple of months and couple of years, I figured it out. But it's actually not as complicated as you might think. More recently, over the past week, I've spoken with about 20 different athletes from different sports, mostly soccer players or football players, but also runners and high rocks athletes. And while a lot of them have their training dialed, being coached by us at Tempo or by themselves, their sessions are solid. They know exactly what they're doing every single week. They know their hard days, they know their easy days, and they probably understand their nutrition to an extent too. They understand the carbs that need to be eaten before and after workouts. They understand their protein requirements. They understand their total calorie requirements. But there's one thing that they forget to put into their session. It's the thing that the athletes that I mentioned earlier, the thing that they do that you don't. In reality, those people and those elites are humans too, but they have a skill that you do not. So what is that skill? And the skill is that they have complete control over their minds, and we non-elites do not. And that is the number one skill. They have complete control over their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions and actions. We react and they're almost 2 steps ahead. Of course, developing this skill requires a lot of work. This work has been labeled as mindset training for years. Before we get into it, I think mindset training itself has got maybe a bad rap over the past couple of years, and maybe because of the feminine nature to the word and the connotation. I believe, as a high performance coach, I believe there is a complete difference between generic mindset work and performance mindset training. And this is obviously what we teach our clients. But generic mindset work, the standardized model that you hear on the self-help podcasts, it looks like manifestation, again, wishing for goals, not doing anything about them, but sitting there in your bed at night and wishing for the goal. It also looks like journaling about nothing. Journaling is fantastic. If you're not seriously finding and getting to the bottom of problems, what is the point? Journaling about nothing. And finally, it has created a scenario of cope. People making excuses for their life, when in reality that they need to take accountability. Performance mindset training, and obviously this is what we teach, looks something a lot different. Manifestation is fantastic. However, it needs to be paired with deliberate action. The key to manifestation is action. So you wish for this thing, but you also put in an immense amount of work to actually achieve that thing. The next is journaling. And like I said, journaling is fantastic. I do it every single day. Every single morning, 5:30 a.m., I take out my journal and I write. But the reason I do that is to find the root of the problem. 3 years ago, when I was in the hole and I was, in this dark place, I took out the journal one night and wrote for 3 hours. And I found the reason and the root cause to my unhappiness. And it was me. That action, again, taking the journal out and genuinely just writing to find an answer rather than writing to cope. And finally, building a mindset system to generate repeatable results. That's what performance mindset training is. And that's exactly what we need to develop. We need to have full control over our minds, but also have a structured system that helps us get to that point. So how do we actually develop the skill of controlling our mind? The elite athletes, the LeBron, the Alcaraz, the Cristiano Ronaldo, they pay thousands to sports psychologists to help them. but I'm just going to give it to you for free, mainly because I've worked with these elite athletes over the past couple of years and I know how to build a system that generates repeatable results. When we go to the gym, we often have a training program. When we look at our mind, we don't have a structured program for our mental training. But after you build a training program for your mind, the results look something like this. You have the ability to take or to not take deliberate action in relevance to your goal. So before you take an action or don't take an action, you can stop and you can think about your goal and you can think how this action is going to pull me towards or push me away from my goal. In a split second, you can have that thought. You then have the ability to be proactive in situations. You don't need to react to your feelings. The emotions and the feelings that you have, they're irrelevant when it comes to the work. You're tired, it's cold, it's dark, but the work still gets done because you know that this action leads to your goal. You have complete control over your mind. You have the ability to stay consistent because this is the greatest skill of not just the elites in the sport, but in the elites in the world. The people who've built multi-billion-dollar companies, they have been consistent for years and years and years. Consistency is bred from the ability to react and take action regardless of how you feel, and regardless of any external stimuli. Because how you feel is an internal stimuli, and then external stimuli is the world, but you still remain consistent. It's having that skill of being able to control your mind. That's exactly what it looks like. I'm going to help you build out this plan for yourself. But we first must understand, where along the journey we are. And the journey is a term and an analogy we use within the program for you and your goals. So here actually is the journey zoomed out. And obviously the elites have achieved the goal that you have in mind. Let's say you want to be a footballer. Ronaldo has achieved that goal. So he is of course up at the goal, but you are down here. You're looking across this crevice and you're thinking that is an incredibly long journey to get to my goal. And you're completely right. But let's actually zoom in a little bit first. Yes, the goal is extremely far away, but it's likely you're not there yet. If we zoom in, we find the illusion of the whole. This is the key that we teach inside the program, that you have to get to this point to realize that the world is real. It's likely if you're watching this video, you're in the hole. You're feeling that sense of sadness or loneliness or depressive nature. Maybe you're not depressed, but you can kind of sense that you're not feeling yourself. Before you were at this stage, it's likely you were asleep. When you're asleep, you're completely unaware to the possibilities that you hold within yourself and you hold within your hand. You then took certain actions and certain things occurred for you to actually fall into the hole or descend into the hole. And sometimes it's an injury, especially for the athlete. It's a wake-up call, an injury. It makes you stop. And oftentimes it makes you think about your mind. It makes you think about how inadequate your mind is. Another situation is a breakup. We all had our first girlfriend or boyfriend, and when that person breaks your heart, it is extremely difficult to recover and you fall into the hole. Finally, especially for the athletes, being dropped. You question everything. Question your coach. Am I good enough? Again, that sends you descending into the hole. And as you descend, you end up feeling lower and lower. And I don't like the word depressed, but you feel meh. You just feel meh. You have the training plan, you have the gym workouts. Even after some good results, you still feel that meh. Your confidence probably takes a big hit and it deteriorates, and you just don't really feel like yourself on the pitch or on the track or on the court anymore. And this moment right here where everything changes, it's an extremely pivotal moment in your sporting career, but also in your life. It's at the bottom of this hole where you wake up and you realize the necessity for training your mind and having the ability to control your mind. Okay, so you can, of course, it's up to you. You can sit in this hole forever. You can stay there forever if you want, or you can take what I'm going to tell you here and build out the performance mindset training plan for you and help yourself climb out of the hole. Because I helped myself. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's impossible to do by yourself. You can definitely do it by yourself, but it does take a lot of time and effort and pain to pull yourself out of this situation. But I'm going to help you. 5 steps. The first is the realization. And this is already done. By watching this video, hopefully you understand that you need to train your mind as much as you train your body, especially as high performance athletes. You have to have complete control over your mind. That is step 1. And you've realized that right now. Step 2 is the foundation. What do you actually want to achieve? What is that goal that you are striving towards? And more importantly, why do you want to achieve it? Okay, if you don't know these, why would you even train your mind? If you don't know these, why would you get up early and exercise before your workday? Why would you chase goals if you don't know why you're doing them? That is step 2. Step 3 is the difference. Understand the exact things that need to change in order for you to achieve your goal. And look at yourself, be brutally honest. Do not sugarcoat it. Don't pretend to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. What has to change? But a more important question is, who do you have to become? Because it's likely if you have a massive goal and you haven't achieved it, you are not the person capable of achieving it. So become that person. Figure out what that person does, who that person is, how they act, how they think, and just adopt their identity like that. The fourth is beliefs. Understand that your current beliefs are what is holding you back from success. And you believe that athlete is better than you. You start to believe the coach when he drops you. And you start to believe your family, friends, and anyone when they doubt you. You do this either consciously or subconsciously. Most of the time subconscious. You know, you hear all this constant negative talk about this guy's never going to achieve his goals. Look, who does he think he is? Blah, blah, blah. And that just gets buried on top of the already crippling self-doubt that you have. And don't worry, as an athlete, as a high performer, you can have self-doubt. But again, the best athletes have that self-doubt, but still take immense action. You have to change those beliefs instantly, because I need you to understand that you are more than capable of achieving the goals. Again, if you have a structured plan to becoming that person, it's inevitable. Time is just a limiting factor. And again, time is the only resource that we do not have control over. Step 5 is our standards. So we need to adopt the standards of this most successful version of you. Become that person, live like that person, act as that person, think like that person. And like I said, with time, you will become him or her. Be them. Just adopt their personality. This happened to me. It was a very pivotal moment for me. I seen a person, I was in the airport one day, he had a leather jacket on, and I had this wake up moment, and I'd seen this very outgoing, very happy person. I said, I want to become him. Why am I not him? Instantly, overnight, I made it my quest to actually become that person. So maybe you need to do that for the elite athletes. Maybe you want to be a tennis star. Look at what Carlos does on a day-to-day basis. Look how he acts. Look how he is around the fans and the people and the interviews. Be him, because you can adopt a new personality, a new identity overnight. Trust me, you can. I've done it. So performance mindset training is definitely not for the weak, but the weak never make it. Very likely, if you're watching this video still, you are not weak. You are just feeling that sense of doubt and isolation. You are not weak, because you're actually taking action by watching this video. Think about all the other people that don't. So the question is, do you actually want to confront your reality? Do you actually want to make a change? Do you actually want to improve that mindset, or just pretend? Do you actually want to learn the new skill that I've just told you in this video? Do you actually want to be able to have control of your mind? That is the question. Because either way, those that take the time to train their mind like it's any other muscle in the body, these are the athletes that become elite. An athlete is not just a physical being. They are a physical and a mental being. And when both of them are as strong as each other, that is when we will become elite. And you might have got lucky. These athletes create their own luck through action. I want you to know, if you are still here, you are meant for more. Trust me, you are. And it means you are starting to wake up. It means you've hit this stage of the hole where the only way is up. You know, you look back at past version of you and you see the sleepwalking state, and then you can look forward and see this new version of you that's achieved goals, that's become that person. It's up to you to change that. So if you are an athlete that maybe has goals that you think are out of reach, or maybe you're an athlete who doesn't quite know how to set these goals, or set these goals and actually achieve them, or maybe you just need a little bit of help climbing out of the hole. That's exactly what we help athletes do inside of Tussick. And again, it's our proprietary 12-week mental reprogramming system that turns you into the person capable of achieving these massive goals. From the ground up, we build out things like your habits, your consistency, we build out your goal, we build out this person that needs to achieve this goal. And over the course of 12 weeks, you become a new person. We call it identity engineering. We build you from the ground up. And this is what we do inside of Tempo. Tempo is our coaching program. Tussick is the singular mindset system within it. It has taken me years to make. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Tempo or Tussick, click the first link in the description. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I do and my life, then click the second link in the description. And with that, I will see you in the next video.